What does astrology tell us about love and partnership? Brotherhood of the Eternal Light, teaching the Western mysteries. There are various astrological techniques for interpreting romantic relationships. In a birth chart, there are already indications about how to deal with close, significant others. For intimate partnerships, in Kabbalistic astrology, we pay particular attention to the seventh house and the position of Venus and Mars. Venus stands for the anima in the horoscope. For a man, it is the ideal image of a woman that he carries within himself and finds attractive. Mars stands for the animus in the horoscope. For a woman, it is the ideal image of a man that she carries inside her and finds attractive. For flirts and affairs, we can also take a closer look at the fifth house, because the fifth house is the realm of creativity and lust. It is also the house of children, that is, one's own offspring. A look at the eighth house could also be interesting. There, according to spiritual points of view, it is among other things about the transformation of matter into energy, and thus also about sexuality as a special form of energy between two people who become intimate with each other. To look at relationships astrologically, we also use the so-called synastry chart. In a synastry of two birth charts, after you have first interpreted the two charts of the partners involved individually, you can quickly see what influences the two people have on each other. You can also see which themes are possibly important in their relationship. Here you see a synastry. The horoscope of one person is on the inside, that of the other on the outside, and the aspects between the partners are drawn in the middle. Furthermore, we use so-called event horoscopes. For example, the first kiss, or the first date, or the saying of "I do" at a wedding can be used here. We will give you interesting examples of the astrological methods mentioned here. At the end of the video, we will also briefly look at the current astrological influences that will prevail or have prevailed on 14th of February 2023, which is Valentine's Day, if you watch the video later. You should definitely watch this as a special treat and stay with it until the end. Maybe you are in love or in a committed relationship, or looking for one and want to find out more about what the astrological influences are. To learn more, we invite you to join our astrological training, which we offer as an online course with recordings of webinars on many astrological topics and comprehensive certified training. You can also check out our free online course section, which has some resources and forums. To start learning about partnership astrology, which, by the way, also applies to business partners and the like, let's look at the examples. We always show the complete horoscope first. When we then discuss individual important constellations, we hide all the other factors so that it is clearer for you and you can understand it well. Let's start with the synastry of Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, who have been happily married for over 30 years. Rita Wilson has been married to Tom Hanks since April of 1988 and has two sons with him, Chet and Truman. She is also the stepmother of the two children from Hank's first marriage. Two children were born of this marriage, Colin and Elizabeth. We first look at Mars and Venus in the partner horoscope to see what the respective idea of the ideal partner looks like. If we now look at the horoscope of Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, we can see that Tom Hanks's Mars and Rita Wilson's Mars form a conjunction in the sign of Pisces, which means the ideal male image of both is devoted or also profound, Pisces, and is closely connected to each other. Rita Wilson's ideal partner is therefore a versatile, thoughtful man. Her Mars is in Pisces in the third house. Tom Hanks can offer her this quality, for he is a profound man, as his Mars is right there. Tom Hanks's Venus is in Gemini in the 10th house, the house of career, and Rita Wilson's Venus is in Virgo, also in the 10th house. In addition, Venus is not only in the 10th house for both of them, but forms a conjunction with the house cusp, the Medium Coeli, which further reinforces the qualitative expression in this house. So we can clearly see here that Tom Hanks' ideal partner is a versatile career woman because his Venus is in Gemini in the 10th house in conjunction with the medium Coeli. He can find this with Rita Wilson. She is a career woman who is very precise and neat. In addition, Tom Hanks's and Rita Wilson's Venus is an aspect to each other, square. The square is a challenging aspect that brings a lot of power potential, but is difficult to handle. What is interesting about the Mars constellation is that Tom Hanks's Mars is in the 6th house, the house of mundane work, which we also assign to Virgo, while Rita Wilson's Mars is in the 3rd house, the area of communication and thinking, which is assigned to Gemini. So here we have a mutual constellation between Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, since Tom Hanks's Venus is in Gemini, while Rita Wilson's Venus is in Virgo. How do the two deal with this constellation? Tom Hanks says, support each other. That's why the relationship works. Rita Wilson says, never go to bed arguing, and exchange ideas in the bathroom, even in the evening. As a small aside, both Tom Hanks's and Rita Wilson's moon are in Leo, which gives the moon a self-actualizing quality. In addition, their moon is both conjunct Uranus. This means they are both sensitive to the same thing, and that is when it comes to issues of self-realization and willingness to change. This is matched by Tom Hanks' statement about their relationship. It just works. Please note in all astrological interpretations that astrology is like a kind of weather vane. It shows certain influences, and it can help us to set the sails right on the journey of our lives. This is why it is said, the stars incline, they do not compel. Man usually has the ability to use his consciousness and power of mind to make wise decisions. The horoscope also does not show to what extent someone may have already worked on his character and personality in his previous life, and thus made himself more independent of astral influences. We stay with Synastry again and look at the horoscope of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, who separated and divorced amid fierce quarreling. Both Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt are successful actors with strong personalities. In the following, we will look at the synastry of the couple, who have been together for a total of 12 years, 2 of them married, and have 6 children together, 3 of them joint biological children. Angelina Jolie's Mars is in Aries in the 9th house, the house of Sagittarius, which suggests that her ideal partner may well be somewhat fiery and impulsive, especially when it comes to philosophy and ventures, which at first glance does not seem to be a bad match for Brad Pitt's basic character, Sun in the 1st house, and Ascendant, which are in the fire sign Sagittarius. Although this is less about the impulsiveness of Aries and more about an enthusiastic fiery quality. Brad Pitt's Venus is in Capricorn in the 2nd house, which in a way already fits the career woman Jolie, whose career as an actress and director certainly ensures her a stable material supply, the 2nd house. Basically, this would not be a bad basis, so let's look at the synastry, where the challenges lie that the couple could not master in the long run. Remarkable are the 2 oppositions and 4 squares. Mars, of all things, is in the square between both horoscopes, for Brad Pitt in Capricorn in the 1st house, and for Angelina and Aries in the 9th house. This means that Pitt's own definition or identification of masculinity, which in Capricorn is defined by his career in the outside world, is in a powerfully charged relationship with the impulsive masculinity that Jolie expects. Which is interesting because in the end, she just ended the relationship because he was impulsive. Another challenging aspect is the square between Mercury in Capricorn and Brad Pitt's 2nd house, and Jupiter in Aries at the house cusp from the 9th to the 10th house, which is in conjunction to Angelina Jolie's medium Coeli. Obviously, his goal-oriented communication conflicts with her fiery impulsive values. This can lead to differences of opinion. Perhaps most striking in the synastry is the opposition of Sun in Gemini in Jolie's 11th house with Pitt's ascendant in Sagittarius. This means that her versatile nature, with which she stands up for the world, for example for women's rights, contrasts with his lively, enthusiastic outer impression. He is virtually bubbling over with ideas of his own, while she forms a counterpoint to this by listening to the world, hearing different voices, and correspondingly idealistically standing up for others. From these examples, it's easy to see that the relationship had its challenges, but the couple still managed to have a 12-year relationship before it ended in a bitter war of the roses. Let us now turn to the interpretation of an event horoscope. We will look at the event horoscope of the wedding of Diana and Charles on the 29th of July, 1981. The event horoscope of the wedding, the saying of "I do," is like a birth horoscope, in this case that of the birth of a marriage. It shows, so to speak, the astrological influences on the spirit of marriage. The wedding of the English prince and princess took place only a few days after a great conjunction. The Great Conjunction is considered in mundane astrology to be a royal aspect that exerts influence over the ruler and his country. Fascinatingly, the wedding of the princely couple was celebrated shortly after the first Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in the air sign Libra, and this conjunction was also a special one as it marked the beginning of the air cycle. For more information on the Grand Conjunction, click on the info card. Jupiter and Saturn are in conjunction in the sign of Libra in the 12th house. Very prominent on the ascendant and the Sirius Saturn. An exalted royal dignity, Jupiter, is clearly outwardly visible. The royal wedding ceremony took place with a large public audience. Libra is about relationships and harmony. The element of air is about spiritual qualities. The wedding of the prince and princess was well planned and pompous. It also has another important spiritual component, for it is also about the preservation and continuation of the royal lineage, which is related to a conscious choice of the right partner. Saturn, exalted in the sign of Libra, brings seriousness of life and structure, precisely the royal marriage. Mars, the ruler of the 7th house, that is, the house of relationships and partnerships, however, forms a square to this constellation, which is after all in the 12th house, hidden things, mysteries, worries, and at the same time close to the ascendant. A square is an aspect with a lot of energy and challenging character. There can be tension. Mars is in Cancer, where he is in the fall and in the 9th house. He is likely to express himself rather unfavorably from his base quality, perhaps through arguments and fights in the marriage, leading to hurt emotions and that the two move away from each other. Mars conjunct Moon in Cancer in the 9th house interpreted figuratively. This was, after all, the case, as we know in retrospect, because both suffered from their marriage and it finally came to a separation. Whereby the position of Mars on the medium coeli suggests that a good reputation will be fought for, but ultimately unpleasant things will come out in the open. Perhaps hidden, morally difficult activities and influences, Jupiter and Saturn in the 12th house, will become publicly visible, square to Moon and Mars close to the medium coeli, and reputations will be damaged. Charles, and especially Diana, were closely watched by the yellow press, and there were revelations during the marital crisis period. Also, with the Moon in its domicile in Cancer as well as in the 10th house, though in exile there, since the 10th house corresponds to Capricorn where the Moon is in exile, there are certainly mixed feelings. On the one hand, a strong emotional sensitivity, Moon in Cancer. On the other hand, a strong influence and pressure from the public. Our conclusion? All in all, this constellation poses serious difficulties for the royal couple. Another peculiarity, the medium coeli stands for the mother, among others, and at least Diana's mother probably did not approve of their relationship. This probably also indicates a certain influence of Queen Elizabeth II on the couple and the marriage. This is likely as they of course represent the royal house. Interesting that this shows up so clearly in the event chart of Charles and Diana's marriage. Mars in the 9th house also indicates that a lot of energy is spent on long-distance travel, which has been the case. Figuratively, And looking at later events in their marriage, it also shows the fight or quarrel, Mars in the case, of two people who will be far apart mentally. Let us now look at the planet of love, Venus. It is in the sign of Virgo in the fall. In Kabbalistic astrology, different virtues and vices are assigned to each planet. If the planet is in exile or in fall, its negative qualities tend to show. In the case of Venus, for example, these are impulsiveness. Love and affection are not under a good star with a difficult Venus position, and ultimately the marriage broke up. Both partners probably had affairs during the marriage. Interestingly, there is a sextile between Venus and Mars. We can see Venus as the feminine and Mars as the masculine part of the relationship. The sextile is a harmonious aspect and shows the opportunity of positive possibilities. This is good. We can assume that there was some attraction between the two. Perhaps there were also agreements and potentials within the marriage that were beneficial to both. After all, Diana and Charles fathered two sons in their first years of marriage, so there was definitely an intimate connection. The Sun, meanwhile, is placed strongly in Leo in the 10th house, and here, in a sense, the basic royal character and importance of grandeur associated with such a marriage of a royal noble family is again evident. We also find the Sun conjunct the ascendant lunar node, which gives the Sun even more presence and strengthens its expression, helping to maintain the appearance of a happy and exemplary royal marriage for as long as possible. The sextile that the Sun forms with the grand conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn on the ascendant also contributes to this. Charles and Diana probably did not ask an astrologer for advice on choosing a good time to start their marriage. A trained astrologer would probably have chosen a better time. If you have something special in mind, you could consult elective astrology to help you choose a date that suits you, because there's magic in every beginning. You can find out more about this in our astrology training or ask for support from the moderators or someone from our Astro team in our free online course. All links in the description text. Valentine's Day 2023 Current Planet Positions. We hope you like our Valentine's Day special so far. Maybe you want to use this day to show your sweetheart that they are the greatest treasure. Of course, not only Valentine's Day is suitable for this, but every day is best. Since we sometimes forget to show our love in everyday life, now is certainly a good opportunity to do something for the other person that will gladden their heart. It is also popular to get married on Valentine's Day. Maybe you have even planned your wedding on Valentine's Day. Here you can see the astrological influences. For a more detailed analysis of the current influences on you and your horoscope, or on your partner, look at the transits. These are the current planetary positions shown here in the chart, and related to the planets and houses in your natal chart by aspect. Come to our online platform if you want to learn more about this. Link in the description. Briefly, some Valentine's Day related interpretations to it, which are sometimes to be considered with a wink. Venus in conjunction with Neptune in Pisces. Venus is exalted, Neptune in domicile. We can expect a profound vision of love. Mars in Gemini, sextile to Chiron in Aries, in wide conjunction with Jupiter. An opportunity for healing, multiple impulses and energies for becoming whole and healing wounds and hurts. Sun in conjunction with Saturn in Aries. Sun in exile, Saturn in domicile. Limitation of individuality in order to freely give to the other and to create a framework for unhindered development. Aquarius as water bearer and giver. Moon in Sagittarius, sextile to Mercury in Aquarius. Unrestricted thoughts about something that moves the other person deeply and with all your soul. Uranus conjunct the lucky point in Taurus. Your love relationship is stagnant and stuck? Become aware of the other person's tastes and habits to rekindle feelings within them. Try new ways to please your partner and find new happiness together. We hope you enjoyed these interpretations as much as we did. We're happy about your like, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel now. Before you click away, an important message on our own behalf. We will soon be starting an astrological research project. For this project, we are still looking for some people to support us. Previous astrological education can't hurt, but we also have tasks for which previous astrological knowledge is not necessary. If you are interested, have a look at the video description, where you will find a link to further information and contact details. We look forward to seeing you. We wish you a happy Valentine's Day and all the love and happiness in the world. Take care, and we hope to see you soon.